Pittsburgh Steelers playoff chances are not dead. I repeat, their season is still alive, even if that percentage is less than 0 or less than 1, I guess. But in the NFL, a chance is a chance. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have been here before. Let's dive into it. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for jumping on to All Steelers Talk. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Steven Thompson. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, their season is not dead yet. They have a 0.4% chance of making the playoffs, doubled from the 0.2% chance that they had coming in to the game against Carolina. They walk away winners. You feel good about this team. And you know, the message in the locker room all week long was not, it's dead. The season is not dead yet. Everybody believes that there's still a chance. The season's still alive. You heard the term win out at least a dozen times talking to people. We got to win out. Things are still happening if you win out. I don't know. Are they still alive? Are they not really alive? Really, the question is, you look at the situation. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're approaching each week, how long are you hoping this magic continues so that you could ride the roller coaster towards a winning season?
Well, I think of it, so even the most of the times when the Steelers lose, they are not getting blown out. You know, Philly and Buffalo were anomalies. Every other time,
that's the Super Bowl matchup,
right? Probably. So you're definitely doing yourself a disservice if you're not thinking about how this team can make it to that point. And quite frankly, they've won enough at this point where like your draft pick's not going to change with two or three more wins, in a meaningful way. So yeah, you like ride this out. You give these final 3 games everything you've got, even though you really don't control your whole destiny. This, the upper crust of the NFL right now is pretty set in stone. But the rest of the league is like wide open. You know, the Steelers are 6-8 with a ton of competitive losses. Like the difference between them and, I don't know, the Patriots or the Titans, or, choose any of those teams this side of Buffalo and Kansas City, and they're right there with all of them. They proved that last week against the Ravens. Like, Mitch Trubisky doesn't throw 3 interceptions. Like, that's probably a win.
Game. Yeah.
Right. Like, you looked at how the Ravens looked last week against the Browns. Like, I don't know. You cannot help but be anything but encouraged by what they're doing right now, and have some confidence that if they do win out, they're going to get some help from someone along the way.
I do think that they are going to get some help. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars winning today was, it didn't really do anything for the Steelers, but it certainly showed that these teams could win. The Cleveland Browns beating the Ravens was huge. Did you say the Jets lost today? Did the Jets lose today?
Yes, I think they lost a really close one they lost not last second, but almost last second to the Lions.
Yeah, so they're looking at 7-7 at this point. You're only a game back from them. The Chargers and the Titans are in a tight race. The Patriots and the Raiders are in a tight race. Like, you don't understand how this is all going to suit out. And the Pittsburgh Steelers still have an opportunity to build their conference. The problem is that I believe at best, and don't take me verbatim here, but I'm almost positive the best AFC record they could come up with is 5-8, which is not ideal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not ideal for the conference race. So I don't know how they'd have to squeak their way in there. But I think overall, like, if you're just looking at the Steelers need to find themselves in a position where they have a better record than maybe one team or 2 teams, or the same record as 1 or 2 teams at this point, like, I think it could actually happen, which is like actually nuts to think about, considering a couple of weeks ago we were talking about a top 5 draft pick, which also shows like the parallel in the NFL is so crazy right now that you go from, what were they picking, 5th to right now, I believe it's 13th, maybe 15th after today's win. And you're looking at a playoff spot, or hopefully a playoff spot. And that's how quickly things change for the Steelers and for everybody in the AFC North, or the AFC in general. I don't know. Do you, the bottom of your heart, true true answer here. Don't try to please the fans because they're all going to agree with you anyways.
I never do.
Do you actually think they pull this off?
Pull what off? Define pull it off. Like make the playoffs?
Do you think that they make the playoffs? Do you think that let's break it down. Let's go step by step. Do you think that they find themselves in an opportunity in week 18 where they're still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that they win out the rest of the season?
So it's Baltimore, Cleveland, and
Vegas on Saturday.
Vegas. Don't love them against Vegas. If the thing, like, you just look at the odds and you'd be stupid to bet in favor of it, but I don't know, the way they're playing right now, I don't. The defense looks like refreshed, renewed, whatever you want to say. Like they're playing with a new kind of energy.
Defense looked better this week than they've looked all season. TJ Watt and Cam Hayward finding the quarterback at the same time was something the Pittsburgh Steelers have waited a long time for. Long time. And
it's just, yeah, you watch them all like hum at the same time. Like, I don't know if they can just continue, if they can keep. I think the biggest question is how they hold up in the trenches, how they hold up, if they, I don't know, like, I'm just not sure if they have, like, when you look at the individual matchups, I think they probably should at this point beat the Ravens and the Browns, but
yep.
That Vegas game looks like a bad matchup, and I don't think
the
they're
Vegas
necessarily
game is the hardest game, huh? You're the second person to say that to me. When Nick Berlansky was on here, what is that, 2 weeks ago? He said the same thing. He was like, none of these games scare me except for Vegas. I think they lose to Vegas. What is it? What is it about Vegas? Is it just Devontae Adams? What did I say? Devontae Adams?
Well, but I mean, like, Josh Jacobs can run. They got so many weapons, and I just don't think the Steelers have enough horses in the secondary to keep up with it.
True. You got nobody to keep up with Devontae Adams or Darren Waller.
And I just think they're going to take the Steelers out of their game. Like, the formula for the Steelers is real clear. Like, run the ball real well, play some ball control. Defense has to, come up with some big stops. And I think Vegas is going to take them out of that formula. Like, they're going to be able to throw the ball a ton and make it a track meet that the Steelers, there's no indication that the Steelers can keep up in a track meet like that.
Yikes. So how do you win? If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, how do you beat the Las Vegas Raiders? Do you just control the ball the whole time? Very slow moving game.
Yeah, I think you got to limit possessions and force, you got to force Vegas to be perfect almost. Like, shrink the number of possessions, shrink the game, and count on them making mistakes like Vegas can do. Like, make some game-changing mistakes in limited opportunities and just hope that because the possessions and plays are so limited, those mistakes that they can make kind of carry some more weight.
Okay. I didn't expect the conversation to go this way. I did not expect. I thought that I even told Berlansky when he was on. I was like, dude, this does not, like, you seem like the only person that believes this, but you're the other one, and it makes sense. Well,
I guess it also kind of depends when Lamar comes back. Like, that Ravens game is.
I think Lamar is an easier match. Like, he's not an easier matchup, but the Steelers play Lamar so well that it almost benefits them because they understand how to approach a game. Whereas in last time, I think that a number of factors played into that, obviously, but I think J.K. Dobbins coming back and them not really knowing how to approach that situation certainly hurt them. But I think Lamar's back. That's all attention on Lamar. And I don't know, Lamar just does not play well against Pittsburgh. Never has.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't expect them to lose to Cleveland at home, especially after losing to Cleveland earlier in the season, especially if the season's on the line. I just don't see that happening. Man, Vegas on Christmas Eve. You're the second one. Like, they're going to ruin Christmas. The NFL is going to ruin Christmas for Pittsburgh. That's how it's going to go out. The Immaculate Reception, the third player to ever have their jersey retired in Pittsburgh history. I don't know. That's crazy.
I mean, you look at the quarterback situation too. We don't know what Kenny's going to be like. We don't know who's starting there. Like,
how big of a role does that play? If Mitch plays or Kenny plays, what's your confidence levels?
Well, I think it goes back. I think it goes back to a conversation we've had before about how much prep time Kenny gets. If there's, like, if this controversy kind of, not controversy, I guess that's maybe the wrong word for it, but if the how do I even say this? Like, if there's uncertainty about who's going to play, if the person taking first team reps at the beginning of the week is not the person taking first team reps at the end of the week, that I think opens up kind of a can of worms and makes you really uncertain about what the Steelers can do, especially if they have to keep up with Las Vegas.
So you'll feel better about Vegas if Kenny goes out there on Tuesday, starts practicing right at the beginning of the week. You don't have to worry about a thing.
No, but I think if they, if Mitch is the one on Tuesday or Wednesday or Monday or Tuesday taking those first team reps, he just better be the one who's starting at the end of the week. Like, I think whoever it is just deserves a full week to get their legs under them and get fully comfortable with what they're doing.
And if they beat the Raiders, you feel confident they win out?
Yeah, I would.
All right, final question then. If they win out, how confident are you they actually pull this craziness off? The only thing I could think that comes close to this is sitting on my mom's couch. I had to be like 15, 16 years old, watching the Bills versus Jets. Couldn't remember who had to win. I'm pretty sure the Bills had to win. It was back in like the Mark Sanchez days. And the Steelers had like some crazy situation where they could barely sneak their way into the playoffs, like going into week 17. Then week 17 happens. They win. All this madness happens. It comes down to the Jets and Buffalo. And Buffalo was like one of the worst teams in the NFL, somehow squeezed off a win. Like in the last second of the game, they pulled off a win. I wish I could remember it more clear, but I remember sitting on my mom's couch and watching the whole thing. And I was like, this should never happen. Like the NFL, this is pure Pittsburgh Steelers magic. That was my only thought, is like the Steelers are the only team that could ever make this happen. And I mean, maybe they could do it again. Like, I think that's the only reason we're sitting here talking about this, is because people actually believe that they can make it happen. Do you believe they can make it happen?
I do. I think something like this happens like routinely, like not every year, but almost every year. It feels
I was going to say, this is crazy.
There's some team with, there's some playoff scenario that comes down to Sunday Night Football, week 17 or week 8. Yeah. It's going to be week 18 now, but there's like, I mean, shit, they did it last year. They who
was last year?
It came down to the Chargers and the Raiders, and I think the only thing, the Steelers just needed to avoid a tie, I think, to get in. And
and what's his name? Brandon Staley was just like, no, we're gonna lose. We're not into ties.
Right.
We're losing.
No. Yeah.
Wow. Damn. That is very true. That's what I mean. Steelers magic. Steelers magic.
Like there's too much history behind this for me to not believe that if they win out, there's going to be some absurd thing happen in the final week that lifts them in there.
Wow. All right. Well, final consensus. I feel pretty good that they could pull this off, as long as they win on Christmas Eve and don't ruin everybody's Christmas, which would be the worst way to lose here. The worst way to lose.
Yeah, I think the worst way. But I mean, holidays one thing, but I think to also just like to see that get kind of dashed so early. Like if they're gonna, you'd rather them take it down to the wire. If you're a fan, just at the very
Well, is that worse though? Is losing on Christmas Eve, the 50th reception of the Immaculate Reception? Franco gets his jersey retired. Your Christmas is ruined because you just got eliminated from the postseason. Is that worse than losing to Deshaun Watson for the first time as a Cleveland Brown at home in Week 18? What's worse?
Yeah. You didn't factor in the Deshaun thing.
Yeah, it's big.
That is a thing. I don't know. Like when you think about it as a Steelers fan, like at the very essence of like watching sports is it's just entertainment, and you want a reason to watch for as long as possible and to be entertained by what you're watching for as long as possible. So in that sense, I do think taking it down to week 18 is the preferred outcome. But man, I'm not afraid to say I want bad things to happen to Deshaun Watson.
As we all do.
Like losing to him, like combining all those factors and like bringing it all down to the wire just to lose to him would not. No, I still think it would be better to ride it out to the end of the year because I think there's I don't know.
It's tough. Like that's a lose-lose. There's no winning there. There's no win. If the Pittsburgh Steelers lose any of these three matchups, I think the winner, like as crazy as it sounds, the easiest way to be eliminated from the postseason as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan this season is to lose to Lamar in Baltimore on New Year's Day.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
like, you know, whatever, worst, terrible way to start 2023, but you can only go up from there. Like, if that's how this starts, then the Pittsburgh Steelers could only go up.
Yeah.
And I guess that's, you know, that leaves a little bit better, but still, man, they put themselves in a tough situation. It's either win, pull off the unbelievable, or lose in like one of the worst 3 ways you could possibly lose and be eliminated from the postseason.